For today's video, we have this little snow miser inspired look, so if you're interested, just keep on watching, and if you'd like to see a pattern for this pretty simple worsted weight raglan sweater, definitely let me know in the comments. I haven't written one yet, but I certainly can if there's interest. So to get started, I'm applying a little eyeshadow primer first all around the eyes, then using a blue Ben Nye cream color as a base. Using a small, precise lip brush to block out the shape, I'm using my eye sockets as a guide, curving up to meet the inner brow, then bringing it just slightly down the contours of the nose, and I'm working back and forth between both eyes to help make them more symmetrical. I'm using a small smudge brush to even everything out a bit and very slightly soften the edges. The only edges I'm keeping nice and sharp are the curves up to the brow and down the nose contours. The cream color base is optional, but it does really help make the blue eyeshadow super rich and vibrant, and you could also use a cream eyeshadow or gel liner. Once I'm happy with the shape, I'm applying another layer of the cream color and blending along those edges again, and you'll want to do this right before applying the eyeshadow because the cream color will crease a lot before setting. I'm using mostly a bright blue eyeshadow as well as a little bit of a lighter sky blue later and a dense kind of flatter shadow brush to pack on that brighter blue over the cream base. I'm using a stippling motion to blend out the edges as I go and blending in a bit from the lower inner corners. Then I'm applying that sky blue shadow to the inner part of the lid, blending toward the inner corner but leaving that area blank. And then I'm going back in with the darker blue to blend out the edge between the two and darken the sky blue just a bit. I'm using a shimmery white shade for the inner corners. Then without adding any more product to the same shadow brush, I'm blending out those edges and then down just a little. With a white water-activated body paint and a silicone dotting tool, I'm dotting just under the inner brow where the white shimmer blends into the blue. This area will be the most concentrated, and we're going to fade out to less dots as we work our way away from that center. If you need to get a little closer into the crease area, you can tilt your head back just slightly, and you just want to make sure to let those dots dry before you go back to normal so they don't transfer or smudge. I'm then going in with a black eyeshadow on a small crease brush to deepen the outer corners, just blending that softly into the blue. I'm applying a light layer of foundation all over, then contouring with a shade just slightly darker than I usually would. I'm contouring along the cheekbones, up onto the temples, around the forehead, and down along the jawline, under the lower lip and chin, blending down onto the neck and a little down the sides of the nose. All pretty typical, but a little more intense than I usually would go for. Then with my everyday blush shade, I'm applying this to the apples of the cheeks and onto the nose to add kind of a flush look to my face. And then I'm also applying a little bit of this to my chin and Cupid's bow. Using a clean spoolie, I'm lightly swirling it in the white body paint that's just a little bit wet so it's on the thicker side, and then I'm brushing that through my brows until they're as covered as I can get them, and you can brush through them in the opposite direction of the hair growth to more fully cover them as well. I'm brushing the brow hairs kind of up and out, and if you don't happen to have long brow hair like mine, you can always go in and add a few hair strokes using a white liquid liner or the body paint on a small detail or angled brush. I'm then using this Nigel FX Ultra Ice, which is a clear sculpting gel, to add some texture and help hold my brows in place. And I'm just applying that kind of randomly using a stiff angled brush, and you could also use a little spatula. I'm applying a white liquid lipstick all over the lips, and I'm bringing a drip coming down from one nostril, modifying the lip line just slightly so that the drip blends into it and doesn't just come straight down. Then I'm using the darker blue eyeshadow to shade along the inner part of the lips, slowly building up that color, and depending on the shape of the lip you want, you could also place these shadows differently. Adding a little shine using the white shimmery shade we used on the lids, applying that to the cupid's bow and onto the drip. Then I decided to add a little to the brows for even more texture, and onto the most concentrated area of the dots, and just blending that up into the brow. Before I finish the eyes, I put mascaras in, and now I'm using a black pencil eyeliner to line the upper and lower waterline, smudging out with the black eyeshadow along the lower lash line before that liner dries and sets. Then I'm also blending the black lightly into the lower inner corners. As a base for the lashes, I first curled them, and I'm applying a couple coats of waterproof mascara to top and bottom lashes. Then, similar to the brows, I'm applying the white body paint to the lashes using the spoolie, and I'm not taking this all the way to the root of the lashes, just kind of focusing on the lengths. With any leftover body paint on the spoolie, I'm stippling that onto that concentrated dotted area to lighten it up even more. And then I'm applying just a little bit of that Ultra Ice to my septum ring and the drip, as well as the tiniest bit to the ends of the lashes. Then I just put on my wig and we are done. Again, if you are interested in a pattern for the sweater, definitely let me know, and also let me know if you have any video requests. But other than that, that's everything for today's video, so I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.